Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. This is going to be more add-ons, news, and updates. It's not going to have as much information as the previous one did, but there are some pretty cool pieces of information I think you guys are going to enjoy. There's a couple of developments to some aircraft that are coming down the road, as well as some that are already in existence. So without further ado, let's get started. So first off, a little bit of channel news. As some of you may know, I have been working on a detailed guide for the A320, specifically using the A320X mod by Fly-by-Wire Sim. This guide will be extremely detailed, walks through the flight step by step from creating the flight into SimBrief, breaking down the SimBrief flight plan, getting you a generalized understanding of how to use it and how to read it, and more specifically how to set up the simulator for use with the flight plan. It is a document that has taken me a very long time to get together. As you can see on the screen, I tried to be as thorough as I could to provide as much information as I can. I already have one release out on my Patreon site available to Tier 2 members and above, but this one is going to show far more information, as well as giving some tips, tricks, and tools that are external to the simulator to increase your flight sim experience. If this is something you guys are interested in grabbing, like I said, you can click on the Patreon link down below in the description, and for Tier 2 members and above, you will be able to download this link or this document. This document should be available to the public and everybody who's subscribed, I should say, within the next 24 hours. I did run into some delays with some simulator issues that we've all been experiencing that were making getting the document accurate a little bit on the difficult side, but I think I have finally been able to iron out all of the issues that I was experiencing. And we'll be able to complete the document hopefully this evening. So I hope you guys are interested in something like this, and by all means, if you are, please check it out down below. Moving on into the simulator, it seems like a bunch of issues could have been resolved today with the latest hotfix. I found that the A320 descent when using the approach mode actually seemed to work better than what it has been in previous flights. One of the things that was causing me issues with my documents was that on the approach, the A320 would stop descending. Although that issue doesn't seem to be completely resolved in the aspect of working fine and as expected, the aircraft does continue to descend now. You just have to manage it a little bit more closely. So keep an eye on that if you are an A320 flyer. Let's move on to some of the other aircraft that I do seem to have found resolution to. All right, moving on to our next aircraft in question today, we have the P44 by Coronado. One of the issues that I caught last time while trying to fly it was that if you touch that sun visor, you would find yourself back at your desktop. It looks like after today's hotfix, that issue has been resolved. I flew it around for quite a bit, tested out the autopilot, and played around with the sunshades, both sides, as well as the window. The window now works as designed, so it means that Microsoft got around to pushing out the hotfix that Coronado had offered for this particular aircraft. If you guys haven't tried this one, I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. Check out my review in the channel list for a full review of the aircraft. And moving on, finally, we have the M20R Mooney. I know it seems like, gosh, what weeks and weeks, people have been struggling with the vertical speed causing a crash to the desktop when flying in the Mooney. However, I tried to force the aircraft today to cause a crash to desktop, and it seems like this has also been resolved. I have done multiple flights with it, toured around with it, used the autopilot, disengaged the autopilot, activate the autopilot, vertical speed, altitude hold, heading turns, you name it. Really put the autopilot through the works, doing everything that I could to repeat any of the crashes that many people have been experiencing and was unable to. So good news there. It does seem like the vertical speed bug has been finally resolved, and we can get back to flying the Mooney comfortably. This is another aircraft that is a ton of fun to fly, guys. If you guys have not had a chance to get into this one yet, I highly recommend it. Anyway, so I would say that the Mooney is actually probably in the best shape she's been in since it was launched. So if you guys are into a little general aviation aircraft that's got a little bit of pep to her and all the bells and whistles that we like as far as our people comforts, if you will, while flying, give it a shot. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy the Mooney, and I'm really glad to see that she finally got the fixes that was needed for it. As you can see on the screen here, she gets up and moving, she gets flying around, and you can really sort of move her around like a little fighter. It's a lot of fun. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next segment of our news today. All right, moving on to a little bit of news today. Nvme Simulations announced today that they are working on their own version of an A380. We know that Fly-by-Wire Sim announced that they're also working on the Airbus A380. However, the Fly-by-Wire Sim version will be free, where Nvme Simulations will be a payware aircraft. Currently, we do not have any ETA or much further information on the aircraft, as well as a lot of the fidelity of these flight systems are unknown at this time, based on the SDK still being in further development. However, I think it's very nice to see that we are seeing some of the larger parties starting to get more and more involved with aircraft creation for Flight Simulator 2020. To say the least, I think 2021 is going to be a big year for Flight Simulator 2020, as many of these larger developers, as they start getting involved and start rolling out the aircraft, we're going to see a whole lot more improvement to the simulator and the simulation experience itself. So this is something that's going to be really exciting to see. It'll be interesting to see how the two being Fly-by-Wire Sim and Nvme Simulations aircraft come to the simulator and what they both bring. I think Nvme Simulation is going to have one heck of a fight against Fly-by-Wire Simulations, as Fly-by-Wire Simulations, I believe, again, has promised that it's going to be a free aircraft, which means that Nvme Simulation is going to have to come up with something quite amazing. And this is just going by what Fly-by-Wire has done with the A320X. The A320 with their mod is an absolutely fantastic aircraft and has come a long, long way. It is certainly, I would have no problem calling it the Zebo of Flight Simulator 2020. So it'd be interesting to see what Nvme Simulations comes out with that can be comparable to Fly-by-Wire Sim at Fly-by-Wire Sim's cost. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to a little bit more news that I think you guys might find interesting, and then we will call it a day. And finally on our list today is FSRealistic has been announced for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. For those of you who don't know, XPRealistic, obviously designed for X-Plane 11, is a immersion enhancing utility that really changes a lot. It goes everything from head movement, wind effect, ground roll, ground effect, tires, rain, raindrops, weather impact, turbulence, you name it. But really, so much of the environment that it impacts that I guarantee I'm not probably mentioning half of them. The other really nice part about XPRealistic for X-Plane 11 was the customization for the user was very, very nice. You could change the rate of effect, durations of effect, the severity of said effect, and it really increases a lot of the immersion for the flight. I really, really am excited to hear about this. The other one I want you guys to be aware of here is this last line right here. We will be sure to keep a close eye on the development, as a camera system is very much desired for feature Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm really hoping that means that either like Stick and Rudder Studios or someone else is working on something like X Camera. For those of you who don't know, X Camera was a very, very nice camera utility. It looked a little outdated, but honestly, I couldn't give a junk's worth about what the GUI looks like. I care what the functionality is. And it made creating your custom camera views, anywhere from orbits to just wing views to things like that, much, much nicer and much, much user-friendly. It was a third-party application, so it saved all of the views based on the aircraft in. You didn't have to worry about the sim resetting it or updates or things like that changing anything. So kind of excited to see that this is in action. Hoping this line here is a teaser, but you may never know. But again, getting back to the FSRealistic, guys, this is something you're going to want to keep an eye on, because I guarantee you will enjoy this add-on for the simulator. This will be something that I will be grabbing right away as soon as I hear that it has been released. We don't have any time for it yet that I'm aware of, although it does sound like it's something that's going to be brought to us rather soon. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed all the information that was brought to you guys today. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, guys. I am so grateful for all of the subscriptions that I currently have on the channel. We're at 5,800 and climbing, over 1,500 in the last 30 days, guys. I'm blown away. I'm blown away. So Thank you guys for all the kind comments in the fields below. Continue to share the information. If there's anything that I didn't cover today that you guys are aware of that I'm not, please throw it in the comments. I'll absolutely jump all over it and get some information out to you guys. We do have another mods, add-ons, and updates video coming as well, where we're going to be discussing the Pilot to ATC. We're doing the self-loading cargo add-on, as well as a couple of others that I have found. All right, as well as we're going to be talking about a few of the third-party mods for the aircraft that are continuing in development. So until then, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Take care, stay safe and healthy as always. Bye-bye.